What's up, guys? YouTubers. This is the Disciple of Discipline here with another NoFap update video. It's been a couple weeks since my last one, and the reason that I postponed posting the last one, or I didn't even make the last one, is because I relapsed. And if you recall, one of the things I wagered to my friend when I made the bet, the 3-month bet, was my iPad. So I had to give up my iPad, and without my iPad, I couldn't take the videos. I also wagered my phone, but because I needed my phone for work, I gave him $100. So I gave him $100 and the iPad. But it's been 2 weeks since that point. Got my iPad back, feeling good, and yeah, we're gonna give this update video. So, as I'm sure you see, the title of the video is "Order and Chaos," and it's interesting. I've had a lot of thoughts over the last couple weeks about what I want the next video to be about. But before I get into that, let me first tell you. Well, actually, no. It all ties in. So, order and chaos, right? So, I got the idea for this title from my dad, who was having a conversation with me. He disappointed me because he was saying that I wasn't being disciplined in basically in every aspect of my life. And small things that he was upset about, like, he's like, you got to be keeping your room clean. I was letting my room get messy, which you may think is a small thing, but it is significant. He was talking about keeping your car clean, so you should be getting your car washed once a week, get your car vacuumed out once a week. Just keeping the smaller things in life that are easy to overlook organized as a part of, like, the goal of being disciplined holistically, right? And what he said to me was like, if we don't have these standards that we set for ourselves, then we live in chaos. And that really resonated with me, as most things he says does. He's a mentor of mine. The greatest mentor I have is my father. But it's so true, and it's not more true than with. There's nothing it's more true with than NoFap, and I experienced that firsthand the last time I relapsed. It was a particularly difficult day. I'd been feeling the urges all day long. Woke up feeling the urges, feeling the urges. And then at about like I want to say about 5 or 4 p.m. I relapsed, and I masturbated probably like 3 or 4 times that day. Let me think, 4 times. Yeah, 4 times that day. And afterwards, disappointment or anger weren't really the feelings I had. I felt lost. That was really what it was. I felt lost. And I felt like the things that I claimed to stand for, the values that I claimed were important to me, the promises that I made, all those had been broken. And I didn't know where to go next. I felt like my life was in chaos, because these are the things that ground me. Having those values, having those things that I try to consistently apply to every aspect of my life. And when a big one is the application of discipline, self-discipline, self-control, self-restraint, to NoFap, breaking that felt like everything was crumbling around me, right? Because if you fall for one thing, you'll fall for anything. At least that's how I believe. And I think most of you guys who are watching this video, you think the same thing, right? We talked about that in the last video. When you're on NoFap, it sparks change in other aspects of your life. You never talk to a person who says, I just started NoFap, or I just do NoFap, and everything else kind of goes, by the wayside. No, most guys say I started NoFap, and it opened my eyes to the ways I can be more disciplined and improve as an individual in so many other ways, and made me so much more aware. And that's how it is. I've experienced the same thing, as I'm sure many of you have, and that's what I felt when I relapsed, was that, wow, everything is in chaos. And I was actually in a pretty, I won't say I was in a haze or fog necessarily, but for about the first 4 or 5 days after the day I relapsed, I was disappointed. I haven't disappointed, but I was off, right? Because I knew it wasn't. I had made it before the 14 days. Then I broke. I had made it 27 days. So it's like, okay, this isn't even a challenge for me anymore. How did you, how could you let yourself lose when 14 days for you, obviously for some people, if you're used to if you're just starting and 14 days is like a new record for you, it's different. But for me, I'd gone farther, so I'm like, wow, this was a real sign of weakness and forgetting what's important to you. And so yeah, it took me a while to get back on the horse, and after a week I started feeling good, and now I'm at the 2-week mark again. I actually woke up this morning with some urges, but the last time I broke actually taught me a lot about how to deal with these urges, the powerful ones, which you'd think after having attempted this for the last, several months, I would have already known that. But, I learned something new after the last time I relapsed. But there's this strong contrast when we're aware that we need to be on NoFap, between the feeling we have about ourselves when we're on it and when we relapse and when we break. And that feeling is order and chaos. When you're on NoFap and you're practicing the other good habits that ground you, the good habits that are informed by your values and by the things that are important to you, you have like this mental flow where everything is right and you feel like you can't be shaken. Even if there's some small step in the road, you might have a bad day, something at work or school or at home or with the family, or if you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, if you're gay or whatever, that something happens that throws you off a bit. As long as you have your good habits, as long as you're practicing your good habits, as long as you're consistently applying those values that are important to you, to those aspects of your life, you still feel good and you can't be shaken. But the minute one of those drops to the wayside, you feel like mentally, spiritually, emotionally, you're thrown into chaos. So that's kind of the difference between order and chaos, and a part of the reason why I think for us it's so important that we don't relapse and that we overcome urges when we have them, because it is the difference between, in our lives, order and chaos, and that's powerful. It's a powerful thing. So now what did I learn after the last time I relapsed in terms of dealing with urges? Well, the biggest thing, the two things I didn't do, well, one thing I didn't do on the day I relapsed, and that was run. I started jogging recently, and jogging has been very therapeutic for me. For most of my life, I didn't jog. Even when I started training and doing street workout, I wasn't jogging, but I started, and it's been first to get my cardiovascular endurance up. I saw it was so much more than that for me, and while jogging, I'm reminded, and I think about those promises that I've made to people that are important to me, particularly my cousin. Our goal of being stronger than justice and more resolute than discipline. The idea that, I think this is like an Aristotle quote, the idea that, the greatest victory a person can have is not over another man or woman or another person, but over oneself. Suppressing your desires, suppressing the base desires, focusing on the important things in your life, focusing on being consistent within yourself. That's the greatest thing we can accomplish. And I kind of remember all those things while I'm running, and it's very therapeutic, very medicative in that way. Additionally, meditation. And I tried that earlier, for the first time earlier on that Friday when I broke 2 Fridays ago. To overcome some of the urges I did for a couple hours, I drove out into a park. I had my uplifting trance, which is pretty much the only genre of music I listen to, uplifting trance. I was listening to that, and put my seat back, and I closed my eyes, and I just relaxed, and I thought, cleared my mind. Except with the exception of one thing. I think this is important, right? And it got me focused, so I cleared my mind. I was listening to the music, the uplifting trance, and I was thinking of an orange basketball spinning. Like you spin the basketball on your finger. I was thinking about spinning, and everything else was clear. And I would think about the basketball spinning, and I would think about the phrases and promises I'd made to myself and to the important people in my life, and that helped a lot. So those are two things that I'll do whenever I feel urges, strong urges, is take a step back. Have the realization that, okay, I'm having urges right now, calmly. If I haven't run, go for my jog. And after that, if you're still experiencing the urge in a really strong way, relax, take deep breaths, clear your mind, get in a place that's serene and quiet. And for me, listen to uplifting trance, which is very peaceful. Music that gives you mental flow. It's beautiful. And remember the things that are important to you. So that's what I did. Maybe you can try something similar. You already have go-tos, but if you do, remember to stick to them. Stick to the good habits. Stick to the NoFap, because for us, for all of us, on this journey, it's the difference between order and chaos. All right, that's it for this week's video. 2 weeks in, still the goal of 3 months is maintained, and I'm gonna make another video next week. So wish me luck making it from now until then. I wish the same to you all. I hope the same for you all. I know you'll be strong. We support one another. We need one another. We are not alone on this journey. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. You all have a fantastic weekend. It's the Disciple of Discipline signing off.